Hello again, and welcome back to Politically Speaking on the Online Citizen, where we're interviewing opposition candidates, political candidates, ahead of the Singapore General Election 2025. My name's PJ Thum, and today I'm joined by Carla Manickam of Red Dot United.
Yes, you're right.
Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Okay, so why don't you introduce yourself, tell us about yourself, and introduce yourself to the Singaporeans out there.
Great. Thank you very much, PJ Thum. Really appreciate this opportunity is given to me. It'll be a good opportunity for me also to take this opportunity to share everybody that I'm Carla Manickam. You can just address me as Carla in a short form. I just want to say that basically my career started with the Singapore Armed Forces. I was in the Singapore Armed Forces for 7 years. We're the first batch of women officers who trained side by side with men. When they say first batch means a lot of people mistaken. We're not the first batch of women officers, but the first batch of the tri-service, where the curriculum has changed for the lady officers to be training side by side with the men, means in a section of 7 men, 5 men, 2 ladies. So we are kind of integrated into the training system. So we're the pioneer batch. We started in 190 OCC. So hi guys who are 190 OCC, I want to say hi to you because we are the first and the very first batch. Of course, I would say I had a meaningful career in Singapore Armed Forces because I was passionate to join the army, because during the school days I was in the NCC. Right. And I felt that it gave me a good age for me to actually expose to army, and it's kind of inspired me to join the army. So I was so passionate. I'm so blessed. I managed to go into the army with so many stringent interviews and all this stuff. After I commissioned, I stayed put in officer cadet school as a platoon commander for the women wing. Of course, we again integrated training for the guys and the ladies. Right. So my journey was very good for the first 4 years I was in the OCS, and then I moved on to School for Infantry Specialists, and then finally the logistics. Why I need to go all the 3 commands: training, manpower, logistics. And I was so blessed, I was able to complete all the 3 commands. I like to say 2 things about the army that who groomed me to be what I'm today is 2 officers particularly. One was my commanding officer in the OCS. Her name is Ang Powa, a lady who was actually lived by the principle of serving the drug addicts. And even till today, she's a counselor and drug addicts, I think more than 30 years. And I feel she's one inspiration to me who says, never give up. Because it's not easy grooming these people and changing them, and she's very patient. And the other person, so she's talking about, to me, the patience, the caring, and the kind of compassion you need to feel for. Because she will tell me, drug addicts are just like somebody is addicted to coffee or smoking. They can't give up so easily. So they say, why can't these people give up? Some people even can't give up coffee. So she will look at that angle, that giving up an habit is not easy and it takes time. And the other person is Commanding Officer Jimmy Koh. And he was in the suspect, we call it School of Infantry Specialists. And that gentleman actually taught me what is courage. So I knew about courage from my dad, but how to execute the courage was actually I saw through him. So he's somebody who saw my inner potential, that he knew that I'm a very courageous person, but I have the kind of limitation, that means the kind of fear that might not move forward. So he gave me one example. What he did is, one day I had to go for a meeting. The meeting was supposed to be attended by a commanding officer because it's half colonels and above. And he told me, Carla, you're going to facilitate this meeting because I got another meeting and I was just a young lieutenant. I said, sir, when I go there, it's all half colonels and above. How can I go there and give this facilitation? He says, you can do it. And I have the faith that you can do it. And I couldn't believe, at a young officer, somebody look up to me and give me the empowerment and trust and say that you can do it. That means he can see through a person. He's able to identify that this person is capable of doing it. But many a times I realize this is what's happened. Many of us in our society, we doubt about ourselves. But there's someone else who could see your potential beyond. And that's where it was an eye-opener to me. I realized what he said was true. I didn't realize my potential, and I actually went for the meeting. Okay. And he didn't turn up. After facilitating the meeting, I came back. Of course, the Afghaners were asking me, what happened to your boss? I said, he's had another meeting, so I came. So they asked me a few questions, I answered, and I went back. And I feel a sense of achievement to facilitate the meeting on behalf of my boss. And that is my first step. I realized that it's okay if you make a mistake. My boss told me, it's fine. Right. If you make any mistake, it's fine. I'll be there backing you up. And I never seen such a commander, such an employer who will stand by me. And that's the one and only throughout my lifetime.
It sounds two themes there, right? Compassion. If you make a mistake, it's okay. Looking to see the good in people. There's a really a theme between the two people that you
Yes.
identify.
Yes.
And so after you left the army, if we can jump ahead to that, you became you're in healthcare and education.
Yes, I was a healthcare in the Singapore General Hospital and Health Centre,
Yeah.
doing learning and development for the nurses, not their specialized skills, more on leadership qualities and all this stuff. So I'm preparing them to develop their leadership qualities, doing programs for them to how to speak to their patients, how to interact with them, and compassion is very important, right? Those day nurses are very good. The only thing, they will scream from one end to another, and their patient care is very good. But the interpersonal skills was a challenge. So I went there to actually develop this aspect for the nursing.
How did you get from being a military officer to teaching people how to communicate and
So that's a good thing about Singapore Armed Forces.
Yeah.
They actually develop you not in just one skill set. When you're actually preparing for a mission, you have to have a lot of things, right? Leadership qualities, planning, care for your man, compassion, how you're going to prepare and set up something overnight. Everything happens overnight, right? That's why till today, I'm really, really thankful to Singapore Armed Forces because it teaches me how to be prepared for the unexpected and how to adapt to things when it comes suddenly. And the very important thing, next one is contingencies.
Contingencies.
If anything goes wrong, your plan A, plan B, plan C. So that is something I'll never forget even till today in my life. Whenever I'm speaking to anybody or I'm actually facilitating classes for my learners, every time I'll tell them, remember, anything can go wrong.
Right.
But remember, when something goes wrong, no need to panic. But you need to, don't panic, but act on it, what you can do next. So that is something I really picked up in the army because you need to make quick decisions on the spot.
So, tell us about your political journey. From there, why did you come out and join politics?
So, of course, I was in the learning journey that means I became an educator, right? So, for good 20 years, I started teaching, that means facilitating classes. And I went out because I stopped into the corporate world. I realized something in the corporate world that shifted me to this area. A lot of people are very capable, very confident people, actually very courageous also. But somehow I noticed they do not know their own potential. Like what my commanders found for me, they couldn't see the potential. And many of the people when they're working, their colleagues or the supervisors or managers are not bringing the best out of them. So what happens? They tend to doubt themselves. So I believe that everyone are equipped with the different skill sets, right? So that, for example, if you're very good in planning, that someone might be good in coming out details. You're planning, right? Planning may be an overview, but there is someone else might be good in, talk about planning. Planning is one, and the other one may be good in organizing the whole thing. You're planning one part, but they're organizing the one thing.
Okay.
So different skill set. But I felt that these two skill sets are very important to complement each other. But instead of complementing, they were competing.
Okay.
So I saw the competitive environment in the work environment and it became very toxic. So in this process, a lot of people have their mental well-being is affected.
Okay.
And also there's fear of making mistakes. The moment they make mistakes, they are being reprimanded and they feel very sad about it, that there's no chance given to them. And then they worry about their performance appraisal and then a performance bonus,
Okay. But how does it lead you to get into politics?
Yeah, I'm coming to that.
Okay,
I'm coming to that. So I noticed that we human beings have overlooked something very important, that is, we cannot be having all the skills that I want in the world.
Right.
So every individual soul is being given a specific task, a specific skills for them to perform. And that's why the world is created whereby when somebody is good in something, another person might not have the same skill set, right? So maybe a person is good in teaching, but might not know how to design the curriculum. But the person who designs curriculum might not be able to teach. So, but we two must complement each other. Okay. So I noticed that many people overlook the part that we are here to complement. So because of competing each other, we don't get our job done.
Okay.
So we need to be collaborative, right? So this is a gap I saw in the working environment in the corporate life. So that spurred me to become an educator, to advocate to people that we all are one. But we are carrying different skill sets. We need to come together, complement each other, and objectively get things done for the organization or any project or any mission. Just like in army, right? I can't run my own show. I need to have the different expertise. You got a signaler who got a platoon commander who's leading the platoon. You got a man who's rifleman who's carrying a rifle. So you got different skill sets they're carrying.
Okay.
And we all need to come together to fight a war, right? The same thing. So that was missing, right? So I went in the education field. Every classes I go through, definitely there's a percentage of people will tell me they are actually very demoralized where they are working. When I want to go further detail to find out, then I found out they say that the fear of opening up, the fear of telling them, I don't know this work, the fear of making mistake, the fear whether this job belongs to me tomorrow. So I was thinking, many of my learners are living in fear. So that's made me question me, what am I doing teaching here? Teaching a particular skill set to become in a particular environment. By the end of the day, they're still not able to perform because the fear factor actually stopped them making the next step. So then I realized I need to do something.
And that something is politics.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, in deciding to do something, right, you chose to jump into electoral politics, and you initially joined 5 years ago when we talked to you with the PSP.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what will can you talk us through all that?
Actually, there's an interesting thing. I supposed to join the Workers' Party before PSP.
Oh.
I approached my brother and asked my brother, would you know anyone from Workers' Party? I would like to join their Workers' Party and to be one of the candidate. That means one of the volunteers there, not candidate,
Yeah,
volunteers there.
Yeah.
That is 5 years ago. Before that means about 6-7 years ago. So my brother was connected to PSP's leadership, and he said, why don't you join PSP? Okay. Then I told him, it doesn't matter. As long as any party which is good, most important thing is I want to join a party which carries almost the values that I want to bring up. Okay. So it doesn't matter. So he spoke about Dr. Tan to me, and I said, okay, maybe I'll go and have a chat with him. Okay. And that's how we went. But what I liked about the party is the compassion and courage. That actually attracted me. I realized that, remember my lady boss, which is compassion,
Yes.
my army boss, which is courage. So these two complement. The moment the compassion and courage which PSP carries, which actually attracted me. And I said, okay, go for it. Okay. But you see, whenever it's attracted, of course, there's always other challenges, right? Yeah. So I would say that thanks to the party who gave me the opportunity to be a candidate. Of course, I've been groomed over there and also given an opportunity to go there. Again, I'm able to facilitate that part to become in politics is because the party is one thing. My careers in the SAF and being in the healthcare and all these added value, and of course my participants in my class, they all add value, and I've developed my skill sets in that. So, but everything was going well, but somehow, and maybe this one I need to tell honestly, very sincerely, I need to tell. Somehow, wherever I go, I have this strength of me just comes out. Strength of me. That means people can feel my presence in terms of a little bit stronger. That my presence is felt. Yeah. So, but sometimes it can be very uncomfortable for some people. But I don't know how to explain.
Well, you're clearly a very strong personality. There's no doubt about that.
So, and I'm a person who actually left the army for one main reason. That means left means I end the contract after my first contract, because I like to debate about issues. Yeah. I like to, see whether there's another angle to look at it. Right. Look at different strategies. But somehow in our society, whenever you debate about issues, you're not seen in the good light. And that's how my career in SAF, I told myself if I carry on like that, my brain will die a natural death by saying yes sir, yes ma'am. Right, yeah. Okay. And then going to the healthcare, I thought outside life would be much better. I could have more say. But then I realized it was just not SAF.
And that was your challenge in PSP as well?
Yes.
Okay.
So I felt that there was a misalignment in terms of what I want to be myself, in terms of debating issues or openly speak about certain things, and whether people can see the different angle was mismatch. Okay,
fair enough. So why RDU?
Okay, so Ravi was with me in PSP. So basically, he was actually a political mentor. He actually groomed me of how do you write articles, how do you speak to people, how do you manage this. So I really look up to him for advice. And I thought, this gentleman is very good. He's really patiently will, talk to me. And when I left, actually, Ravi was kind of following me up for past 5 years. But I said, Ravi, I think I'm happy with where I am now. I think it's better for me to not proceed any further because I didn't feel very comfortable when I left the party, and I want to join another party. Many of them will have a different perception. I'm not worried about perception, but I don't want them to see it in a different angle, and it will affect your party's image. So maybe basically it's better for me to be kept aside. But one person persistently never gave up, and till the very end he was following up, and I just decided only last year, I said okay, because the part of me to be in the politics or to serve people was very deep.
Right.
I was trying to escape from it, to tell myself it's okay. But when I go deeper into myself and ask myself, yes, it is there.
So earlier you were saying, you're talking about finding a party which shares your ideals. Can you talk a bit about what those ideals are for society, for Singapore, your vision for the world that you'd like to see?
So one of this one is even one step above of the PSP, which I saw, was fairness.
Right.
And I know about myself, I'm a person who very objective driven. That means even if I were to give my learners anything, that means if I need to check a person's work only twice, I make sure everybody will get twice. The fairness part. So it must be very fair and objective. So it was very strong in me. And RDU carries the part of being fair, inclusivity, and Singaporeans must be the first class. This is our home. This is our country. And I felt it's like drifting away. And we're drifting away to the extent we feel that, is this my country? Is this where I born? Is this where I grew up? Our grandparents and parents built this country for us. And now I see it's like slowly drifting away. So I felt that, no, I have to come back. I have to come back. It doesn't matter whatever it takes. I know I have to go through so many challenges. But we need to bring Singaporeans back again to be united. And we stand together and fight what we need to fight to say this is our home.
Fight for what?
Fight for our rights to be a Singaporean. We are saying, so Singaporean must get everything first because it's our country. This is our home. It's built by our parents. Why our parents work very hard? I still remember my parents. My father's a labourer. He worked very hard. Just follow the system. You always say we are doing this because life will be very good in Singapore and you must be here, right? So when they have built in such a manner, and now when we are going through, but I don't see that anymore. I don't see that our Singaporeans getting the best of the job. I don't see they are getting the best of the salary they deserve to get based on their capabilities. I don't see that they deserve what they need to be deserved to be given to them. It's not given. That means basically we are the number one in education system. And we produce so many brilliant people. And yet our Singaporeans who are really hardworking, who worked very hard, every parent spent all the money for the children to educate them. By the end of the day, they don't get the job that you want.
Right. Just so we're clear to the audience, you're not saying exclude foreigners, right? You're not anti-foreigners.
No, I'm not. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not anti-foreigners. To be honest, where I'm coming from is we need people from different walks of life, different countries, different talents, everything to come together. We can be inclusivity. That's one of our values here. We want to be inclusive. Yeah. Because my parents also migrated in those days from India to Singapore. Yeah. And he became a citizen and we built a country, right? Yeah. So we Singaporeans, to be honest with you, we are very, very nice people. Yeah. To be honest. We embrace different culture, different race, different countries together. Yeah. And we are very patient people that I notice everywhere I go. So you will never get people like Singaporeans like us, very patient and accepting, but there's a limit, right? Limit in terms of the opportunities that we get. It's very important. That's one aspect of job. Another aspect, I noticed that our Singaporeans have to aspire to be somebody, right? Yeah. Many people talk about 5 C's, but I don't want to go to the 5 C's, but I just want to talk about something different. That is what aspire in the life to have a good education, good job, and good money, have a simple car, with a family, we travel here and travel there. Many of them can't even aspire to especially a sandwich group where they have young kids, children, they want to get a car to move up and down. I personally went through the challenge when I have to bring my daughter, carry her 4 years old in the bus, and no one, sometimes you don't even get sis traveling here and there. I want to book actually a bus for her transport. The transport guy told me, you need to pay $500. Wow, that's a lot of money. I never driven car for 20 years after passing my exam. And I went to buy a second-hand car with the installment of $500. I said, instead of giving it, I gave that. So I managed to have a small car to bring it up and down. The convenience was there. There are so many parents are trying to have that, but they can't even afford a simple car.
Yeah. Yeah, COE prices have, was it doubled, tripled since
Yeah.
2019? It's
Precisely.
quite crazy.
So how can the policies can give opportunities for this group of people who have young kids? I know having young kids is not easy, especially they want to have two kids. And Singapore say we must produce more, produce more. How to produce when we don't even have the basic thing of having a car? Actually, they say no, having a car is not a basic thing. It is a luxury. No, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, no. Like I look at my cousin, and he has 3 kids, right? And they're all 1-2 years apart from each other. And if he didn't have a small car to put all the 3 kids in, it would be impossible to leave the house, because how can you take 3, ranging from a toddler to a baby on the bus or on the MRT, right? Even if it's him and his wife.
Yeah.
So for young families, yeah, definitely a car is not a luxury.
Luxury,
Yeah,
no. It's a necessity for them because
Yeah.
of convenience, putting them where they are, going to work. And you need to, in our society, both husband and wife have to work in order to survive, because we know the next thing is the cost of living.
Yes.
We all know the cost of living is gone. So if both don't work, then it's another challenge. Right?
So before we get there, can I just summarize then what you want for Singaporeans is fairness. You used the word fairness earlier.
Yeah.
Because if I can summarize the one big problem facing working Singaporeans, it's not foreigners, it's not lack of jobs, it's we're underpaid. Singaporeans' wages have been systemically suppressed by the government for decades, right, between the 90s and until 2010. And the government then has been trying to bring wages back up without undermining competitiveness. And they don't know how to do it now. Wages, because of all this decades of suppression and a lack of unions, right, our wages really lag behind what they should be. And when you compare to comparable economies, we are underpaid. So that's the main thing. And of course, cost of living has skyrocketed and has been made worse by government, which has, between the COEs, the GSTs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so, wait, what was I going to ask you now after all of that? I think if we summarize it as fairness, then you were talking about young
the
families.
rights, what the rights of Singaporeans should be they're getting, just like we're talking about a car, right?
Yeah.
And the pay is not to what they are deserved to get.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing, right? When we talk about Singaporeans having children, no one seems to question the assumption, why even have children? The government wants us to have children, but they want us to have children because they need workers. Why would you bring children in this world just to have workers? Having a child, they think offering us money is going to somehow incentivize it.
Yeah.
Having a child is not a financial transaction,
Yes, you're right.
It's a spiritual commitment. It's an emotional commitment. When you have a child, you will pay anything to have give the child a better life. It's not this financial transaction.
Yes, you're right.
You give me 30,000, I'll have a child, and then, but that seems to be the problem. We approach children in Singapore, the government policy approaches it like it's a financial transaction because they want more workers down the road. How should we create an environment where having a child is not a burden or a liability, but something to look forward to, something to be joyful about?
Yes, thank you so much. I have a vision.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure how many of you will see this as something which is practical. Maybe somebody will mock at me, but I just want to speak my mind, okay? You see, in order to raise a child, one of the parents in those days, one will work, one will take care of the child. But now we are not asking that we completely one person to take care, but we can bring in policies whether either who is a main caregiver, who works instead of 7 hours a day, works half a day, send the child to school, then 1 o'clock school finish, they pick them up and they are with the children. But they still pay the full salary. Just now you asked me, right?
Yeah.
It's not about financial transaction. but the child needs to be with one of the parents to be raised, at least one of them, and
Right.
one of them can be working. So if that will happen, so you have the children are being taken care by the one of the parents. So we can actually spend more time. That means the child can spend more time, because after that 1 o'clock they come, lunch, and then the one parent is with the child all the way through. And we say that 7 hours we work. Are we productive for 7 hours?
No.
So why not this particular person? They will be motivated. They will be motivated to work for the 4 hours, and they know they put a child in a school, and then they're motivated to work for 4 hours, come back, they know they're going to spend the time with the child, because every parent wants to spend the time with the child, but they're exhausted, right? After 7 hours work, they need to buy things, come back, cook and everything, they're exhausted. But this leeway, the 3 hours they actually let go, that means not let go, that means they forego for the 4 hours, the 3 hours they spend with the children, if the government can come up with the policies, and then what happens? They feel the motivation there, and they feel good, I want to have more kids. And then that party is also, that means that person is also more prepared to have more kids, because they're not tired at the end of the day. To produce, you need to also have the kind of relaxation, you need to have the time with the spouse and all this stuff, right? But it's not, we're not having that. So the first thing is shorten the hours for one main caregiver. That means either the husband or wife, doesn't matter. They can make a choice.
So how would you sell this then to companies who might say, well, I'm going to pay the same amount for someone for half the time?
Okay, so research has proven our brains will not continuously work for 7 hours. Okay, maximum, if you want to create an idea or whatever it is, whatever you're doing, any work, 4 hours, if they know that they only need to work for 4 hours, the productivity will shoot up. And then a classic example is the Western countries. They work maybe 4 days or maybe 5 days, but their working hours are shorter, and you can see their productivity is there. I'm talking about Nordic countries. They actually productivity is there, doing very well, right? So research has proven. I no need to say, research is saying. So the 4 hours is good for the company. Why don't you put it into a trial and see whether it works? But you don't need to put in trial, it'll work. I can tell you that definitely. Just for example, I give you, whenever they know that tomorrow is Friday, right? And the company got half day, wow, everybody's so happy. Can you imagine every day is half a day for that particular person? The motivation is there naturally, and they will feel so grateful to the government, whatever the government it is, they'll feel so grateful that they really empathize with us.
Could we, because this seems like complicated, could we do something a bit more flexible? Maybe have people work from home, flex work, greater, more of a gig economy? Like, if we have more flexible working arrangements and more flexible ways that people work, instead of having to go to the office, sit there 8 hours, clock in, clock out, be seen, be visible, but have an economy and a workforce that has more options about how they produce, when they produce, right, from where they produce. Would that then, you think?
Thanks to COVID. You might be thinking why I say thanks to COVID. Okay, COVID is not good, I know, but it has changed. We need a natural disaster to change the perception about how we can actually work from home. So COVID actually shifted the mindset of many people in the world, especially in Singapore, that things can be done from home. And that's why even till today, there are companies allowing people to work from home and work from. This flexibility is coming because of COVID. But not for all companies. We can stretch out for all companies, because some operational requirement, they cannot be at home. They have to be at a workplace, right? So that they have to go under the shift, like 4 hours they need to work. It might not be applicable to all jobs, but those who are related to operational requirement, it might not be flexible to be working from home because they need to be in that environment, right? But I'm also talking about expand this. The current flexibility is already there, but it's not very fully there. Employers have to develop this trust system in Singaporeans. Please trust us. There's no trust. Employers don't trust their people. The day when the employers trust, I think one departmental store I can bring is Sheng Siong. I believe this man who's running this Sheng Siong, he has so much compassion for his staff. Why I'm saying that? When you enter Sheng Siong, every single staff is so happy. When you ask them for an item, they will not point the finger is there. They will say, come ma'am. They bring you to there at the door, and where the location is, and this is where it is. And they couldn't find any item, they'll stand with you, Google for the item.
Right.
And I'm so touched.
So you're kind of striking more at the heart of the entire sort of basis of our society in many ways.
Yes.
Because since the 90s, we've pursued this very ruthless, cutthroat growth at all costs, right? Neoliberalism, where the value of something is measured by its economic output, not necessarily by, how much it makes you happy.
Yeah.
And so because we have gotten so ingrained in this mindset that the value of something is how much money it produces, it's created this very cutthroat, what am I extracting from this sort of mentality, which has permeated through our society over the last 30, 40 years. And I think for me, my favorite line is our Prime Minister saying, if we don't eat other people's lunch, they will eat our lunch. Which makes no sense to me, right?
Yeah.
Because in an ideal world, everyone has enough to eat. We cook lunch for each other. We're all happy. What is this cutthroat? We have to stab other people or they will stab us. What does that say about the mentality that you have, right? But so it sounds like you're hinting at a broader vision of society that is very different.
Yes, because I saw this broader vision of society when I was a young kid, when we were staying in, of course, HDB blocks, and the doors are open. And when we have tools, we only have hammer. The other neighbor will have the screwdriver. We won't have a hold the set because we'll share.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the kind of money, right? But I saw the compassion, the unity, the love to actually share, take care of the things. We used to have it, but we lost it. So when we had it, do you know that our country was productive?
Yeah, of course. Hey, I'm a historian of Singapore.
Yeah. So do you agree?
Yeah. No, Singapore was actually more productive and more innovative when we had political competition, a multi-party system, when we were still struggling to go from third world to first world. We were all in it together. We had a government which talked about socialism, the common good, Singapore building it up together for all Singaporeans. And we lost that in the 80s because of the whole ideology of neoliberalism that overtook the entire world. Let's face it, everyone, we're not unique. Everyone went from, we lost, because of all these different events throughout the second half, the final third of the 20th century, the debt crisis, for example. We went from the Bandung spirit, right, where Afro-Asia is going to collectively work together to raise ourselves up, to this every man for himself, and us countries, we need to this whole very ruthless mentality about my country first, right?
Yeah.
Which is particularly crazy in a time where we've had the pandemic, we have the climate crises that you cannot solve on a country by country basis. But we live in a world where every country is like, I only take care of my country, I don't care about other countries.
Yeah.
I want to screw other countries so that my country is better. That's how we got into this mess.
Yeah.
So, it sounds like I like this whole idea that you're
we need to bring back.
Yeah.
We need to bring back. Yeah. It's in us. It's in every Singaporean.
Yeah.
But it's just that they are finding and figuring out how to bring it back. And they're a bit not too sure.
So tell our voters then, voters of Jurong Central, how are you going to fight for that if you win office and you have the opportunity to run a town council? What are some ways little ways? Obviously, you can't make wholesale changes, right?
Yes.
You're going to be an opposition MP in an SMC, surrounded by a GRC that is probably going to be PAP controlled. Well, we don't know, but odds are,
Of course, the first option is, of course, if the Jurong Bukit Batok GRC, which is with Red Dot United, and the SMC with Jurong Central, if they both win, of course, we can collaborate together. Am I right? Yeah. Then, of course, it's a fantastic thing that, we can have one to serve the whole residents over there. But of course, as much as I say that, as much as we think about being positive or winning, but losing is negative. But if it happen not to win, but only only my constituency happened to win, for example, I'm just giving an example. If only my constituency win, there's Jurong Central SMC. I kind of having this feeling that is very connective with the ground. I can feel the connection. I will definitely remember I said I will collaborate, right?
Yeah.
So the other side of the GRC is PAP.
Yeah.
And this side is Red Dot. My first step is I will go and shake hand with PAP and say our main purpose here is to serve people. Let's collaborate and not to waste resources.
Okay.
We got additional resources.
Let's be realistic.
No, I'm just saying that's the first one. No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because I believe in miracles.
Okay.
Okay, I'm a strong believer in miracles. I believe the PAP is not that bad as we think. I think because I believe we just need to give a stroke of compassion towards them and also an empathy to see where they're coming from. I believe we have, if we have the wisdom, they will see through. This is just a first option because I will always tell myself I must do the first option.
Right.
If it doesn't work, then I go second option.
Yes, you mentioned plan A, plan
B, yeah, all from
and
SA.
And that fits. Like your first action will be to extend the hand.
Because
if they
you know
say
what?
no, then
because I'm a person who say I advocate collaborativeness.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so that's plan A. But let's assume they say no. What's plan B?
That's fine. At least I did my best to ask them. I will definitely, not me, I'm not working alone. I have an arduous team working. And there are many volunteers in Singapore, and there are many people out there, well-wishers with there, who will work together and form a fantastic town council for Jurong Central. And I want to tell you something, even we're not going to get the kind of funding, of course we got funding given by the particular constituency given, if we need anything additional, I with a team of people, we're going to work to do something very meaningful because I notice in Jurong Central, there are many elderly and many of them are in fact rotting at home.
Right.
So I have a plan to bring these people out and make sure they are vibrant, and you might not have the money. We are going to raise the money to actually do an every door. I mean it, every door. I'm going to go every door and get these people who are alone, especially the elderly first, and what are the needs they need.
Okay.
The day I'm voted into Parliament, if I get a mandate,
okay.
I'm going to walk every door of the house, especially first for the elderly first, to look into what are the needs first and get it done with the kind of funding we're going to raise for them.
Wow, that's a big...
Yes, it's big, but I'm a person who believes in the faith that you just need one matchstick to spark a fire.
Okay.
Can I be the matchstick to spark the fire to get the Singaporeans from every part of the world to be in my vision? So I'm not talking for the sake of talking because people who knows me, they know what Kala stands for. Kala stands for compassion and the courage to do things and never give up.
Okay, so to come back to my question though, what, and I think this builds on what you're saying. How would you foster a more communitarian spirit in Jurong Central? So you've talked about going door to door. You're going to find out the needs of every single person. But then what? Give me something, an example of how you would like to change a policy you'd like to change or implement.
When I went to door, some people, they are already retired, right?
Yeah.
Though they are retired, they are mentally, physically, emotionally strong people. They are capable of contributing to society, but they don't get job. And I'm going to pull all these people up. And I want to make them worthwhile in the society.
Okay.
A lot of people feel not worthy of themselves. They are holding very good positions in their life. But the moment they retire, they're like nobody to everybody. So I want to bring these people out who are still able, who still can contribute, and I want to bring them out and make them worthy of what they are capable of and contribute back to my Jurong Town Central, whereby they can actually go out there and serve other residents. And we are going to give them, not for complimentary, we're going to give them something that will reward them.
Okay.
And that will be discussed with those who are coming, whether they want monetary, because not everything monetary, I remember not everything transactional.
Yeah.
I have people telling me, Kala, you have something for me, I will be willing to do, no need to pay me any money. They got money. Yeah. I want to make myself worthy of something. They might be good in doing some plantation work, teaching something, or maybe doing some art and craft, anything. Can be anything, but I'm going to door to find that. That's the first one. Second thing, I want to go to the sandwich families who's taking care of the young kids and the elderly. I want to extend my help and support for this group of people. I'm honestly saying it's very tough. Taking care of young kids and taking care of elderly at the same time, the stress level and the financial strain that these particular people go through is very challenging. So I'm going to propose to the government a policy, those people who are actually serving these two generations, maybe it's younger and the older, we have to do something. Again, if they don't come with us anything, again, I'm going to do something where we're not going to give vouchers lah. Okay,
Yeah.
so but we're going to do something meaningful to see whether how we can support either the elderly that did need help or the children.
Okay.
And we see the needs of them. We need to contextualize and customize it. Cannot be one solution fit all.
Yeah. Again, this is like a huge undertaking for you and your RDU team. But will it? You actually these two schemes.
This is recorded, right?
Yeah.
Why I'm saying it's recorded because we have to give an opportunity. You have to give an opportunity to the people, that means to RDU, to get it done. You got 5 years, right? In these 5 years, you know the truth. Whether Kalas is talking for the sake of talking, in the base of RDU, or whether we're making the impact.
Could those two schemes overlap? Because you have one scheme, volunteers, the other scheme, helping stressed out families.
Yes.
Could the volunteers help the stressed out families?
Not necessarily they are going to help this. Yes, possible, because they can come in to help to release the stress. It may or may not, but we look at other strategies to help them. It's always not one strategies. I like what they call the art of war.
Sun Tzu.
Yeah. We are lagging in developing strategies to manage situations.
Right.
Again, thanks to SAF.
Right.
Anything that we plan, we must plan with strategies. You have a wrong failure of strategies, even it goes wrong, now mind, but how you can counter-propose it, another strategy. And I feel strategies are not being developed. Strategies is actually coming out with different ideas, different ways of doing things, right? So that is something that's lagging in our society. So I'll definitely look out for another, but I will not sit there and rest there and say, I've done. No. I'll keep going until I find different strategies to manage it.
So, just to clarify, from walking the ground in Jurong Central, do you feel like these two things are sort of the biggest challenges, or are there other challenges that Jurong Central faces that you'd like to tackle?
As it is now, these are the two major challenges I noticed, because I've seen many couples with children and elderly.
Right.
And I've seen more just elderly alone. All right. And the good thing is that I'm so surprised. I've been an Indian, right?
Yeah.
And many of my Chinese elderly are calling me, Kala Manickam, come. Manickam, we're going to get you because money is going to come, because my father's name is Manickam. Manickam.
Right.
So where I'm coming from is, if they are, this is what shows the unity of Singaporean, regardless of race, language, religion. It brings me to the kampung spirit, and many of them approached me to just shake hand. And all I ask them for one thing. I say, whether you're going to vote for me or not doesn't matter, but please bless me. I need your blessings. The blessings are more important than the vote, because that will determine what is it. But I'm so happy that it brings me back to my parents lah. Serving them is serving my parents. We all try to segregate, this is your parent, my parent. No. Everyone is our parents. As long as they're elderly, we are there to help them, to serve them. So I see it in a need that I will definitely do. I don't know, destiny brought me to Jurong SMC, because I'm not supposed to be in Jurong SMC. I'm supposed to be in Jalan Kayu. I've been doing pre-campaigning for almost 1 month in Jalan Kayu. So I asked this question, why suddenly my destiny changed? When my posters all printed for Jalan Kayu 3 days before nomination. Again, out of collaboration, we gave way to Workers' Party. Again, we're showing the unity. We have demonstrated unity in every aspect.
Right.
So where I'm coming from is, if the destiny changed, there must be a reason.
Right.
Because in Jalan Kayu is younger parents with younger kids. I didn't see much elderly there. It's a younger group of generation. And their needs were quite different.
Okay. Can I ask you about the other aspect then of being an MP? Obviously, running the town council, right? Controversially, the PAP government made that part of the MP's role, but the main role of the MP is being in Parliament, debating policies.
Yeah.
Okay, so realistically, we know that even if you win, you'll be one of a very small number of opposition, and you won't have the ability to push new legislation. you have to, it's almost a defensive role that you'll be playing, that the opposition plays, to, Loh Tia Kiang's famous, co-driver metaphor. How, what's your style? There's a lot of different styles about how people would conduct themselves in Parliament. From your JBJ, your Leong Man Wai, your sort of more calculating.
JB Jeyaretnam.
JB
my role
Jeyaretnam.
model.
Yes, yeah, great Singapore hero,
Singaporean,
right?
hero,
But he was very aggressive.
Yeah.
He was the only one man until Cham Si Tong 3 years later, but he just whacked, right? And people loved him for it. But today we have more cerebral, calculating, Pritam Singh. We have more intellectual, James, right? And we have Sylvia. We have all these other MPs, and how they conduct themselves. All are very different. What's your style?
I like Dharman style. Our President Dharman style.
What would that be for an opposition MP?
If you notice, our President Dharman, or even our previous president, who is S.R. Nathan.
Okay.
I like that composure they carry with them.
Okay.
And the maturity and wisdom with them. They know they have to go big odds. They have to fight against big odds. But the way they actually address issues, they don't come across like people who are someone they do not like. People somehow like them whenever they open their mouth to talk.
Right.
I don't know how. There's I'll call it charisma, yes. The word is charisma. So he carries a certain level of charisma, which even he can be debating something which might not be very healthy for the opposition, but for the PAP. But he do it very nicely. He do it very articulated, where he can influence the people to agree with him. Yes, we want it, even though it's unpopular. I think
both of them had the advantage of being basically PAP people, right?
Yeah, but even PAP can have some, they can have that kind of charisma with them, right?
Sure. But it's easy to be this relaxed, charismatic person when you are the one with the power, when you are the one controlling the money, right? When you are the one with all these 90 other allies with you in Parliament. Whereas you're going to be on the other side, and you're going to have people insulting you, right? Vivian Balakrishnan calling Leong Man Wai illiterate. They're gonna be laughing. They're gonna be sniping at you. They're gonna be sneering at you, right? You're gonna stand up. You're gonna give a speech, and you're gonna see eye rolling, right? And this is emotionally exhausting.
Yeah.
So how do you respond to that?
Being an educator for 20 years, there are many scrutinies I went through. And people can say whatever they want to. Even Mr. Vivian can actually call you illiterate. Or even recently our Prime Minister Lawrence made a remark. So many questions he's asking. Who? Leong Man Wai. Even to say that kind of word, you're asking so many questions. Put somebody down. But I believe that it's not they are putting me down. They're putting themselves down.
So you're going to take the high road, going to be calm, steady, try to be very...
I can choose not to let it affect me because I need to analyze it. They are just speaking for the sake of talking to affect your emotions.
I respect that. But to be fair, that's kind of what I thought too until I ran into the chainsaw that is Shanmugam. And then I sat there for 6 hours as he insulted me. And by the end of it, I just...
You can choose not to say anything. You can be very calm. It's because I have a choice whether to accept it or not. Yeah. So this is something I built over the years, especially in the last. Being an educator is a very good role, being an educator, because it actually groomed me to be patient. And my learners can even say, oh, I don't understand that. Okay, what you don't understand? I can repeat and explain to them over and over again, spend the extra time, whatever it is I can do. But people will continue to say anything negative about you, but you yourself know what you meant for. Why are you letting this affect you? So before, I always say, when we say something negative of another person, it's not about them, it's about me. I have to throw shit on myself first before I can throw shit on others. Right? If you want to say something negative, I need to take the negative part on me, right? I'm throwing shit on myself. before I can throw it. Because if I want to throw mud, my hand must get dirty first. If I want to throw mud on somebody, my hand must get dirty first. So who get it dirty first? So that's what we call wisdom.
Right.
We need to have more wisdom.
That's the thing, Tharman never needed to throw shit because he had Shanmugam there to throw shit for him, Vivian there to throw shit for him. Tharman could be like, I'm above this. I can be charismatic. I can be nice guy. No, because he knew he had the bad guys next to him too.
Yeah. So we have a choice, right? Let them throw whatever they need to throw, but I will continue to pursue because I know I have the courage to ask the questions. If my question sounds stupid to them, so be it, because I am speaking for my people in Jurong Central SMC.
Okay.
So
what are those questions that you want to ask? So we know, of course, cost of living, housing, healthcare, but are those going to be your main questions, or are there any particular issues that you will like to push forward in Parliament?
You crystallized it for me just now, PJ Tam. You crystallized it for me. We are not transactionals. We are not numbers. Singaporeans are not mere numbers. We are human beings with feelings, with emotions, with connecting with what we do. So we need to push for things that makes the life of people more balanced, where you need to be economically good, and you need to have a mental well-being of happiness. This is what I'm going to push for, balance.
Right.
And that balance must come, well-being, will come through not by dollars and cents. Yes, dollars and cents is important, but is there some other things? For example, I told you 4 hours for one parent, and can we have the basic, very basic things of having a simple car for families where they will feel more, their feelings are respected. Elderly people, today, that one guy I saw in a coffee shop, I came last month, 2 months ago, was my coffee was 120, now it's 150. And these are retired people eating into their savings. So is there something else I can do to give them the $1 coffee rather than not even 120, 150? So is there something I can push for them? And they say that, it still will go further. It's a big cost of living. I don't want to touch. But can I do something for the very basic necessity things? They come for coffee down to chit-chat. They can have coffee at home actually, but they come down to their friends, talk to each other. But they need to remember they need to have 150 in your hand to just buy a coffee. Right? So is there something I can do, policies, for this group of people who are retired, who are actually eating into the savings, and where they can actually, spend the money appropriately in a more meaningful manner? And if you are, thank you for this policy. And they're thanking, even whoever is taking over the government, right? They're thanking them, thanks for this, right? And the middle sandwich families, the support policies to support them, either the elderly, the children. Is there somebody that, the children especially? To be honest, I really empathize with our kids today because they don't really grow up with their parents. It's something very emotional to me because I've seen many kids who actually don't even have time to speak to their parents because the parents are just doing work late night and they have to work, otherwise they might lose a job, and they're very tired to talk to children. And many parents are feeling guilty. If my child has gone in this manner, I'm responsible for it. But actually it's not the parents' fault also, because the society make them working. And then the children are left alone with the helpers or whatever it is. So where I'm coming from, can we come up with some collaborative policies where we give that kind of, not transactional, please treat us like humans.
Right.
Do you know sometimes pets got a better life than humans?
Yeah, the interesting thing is that's not only true, right? But that's been a complaint of Singaporeans since the 1940s, because pets had more rights under the colonial government than coolies. And I feel like we've come full circle back to the whole colonial economy where we have humans treated like coolies and pets having more rights and being treated better.
So that's something I really feel that there's no happiness in our country. When I ask my learners in our class, how many of you look forward to go to work, put up a hand? You hardly see any hand coming up. They say, I'm just working to earn the money for survival. So where's the happiness? How nice we have a country with economically good and we have happiness for the mental well-being. I'll tell you, it will be a wonderful place. Singapore is a beautiful place. We are all giving to the very shallow things of, we got sheltered walkways, we got upgrading blocks. We
infrastructure.
Got all structure, very nice. Oh, we got nice, good MRT connectivity.
Because that makes money, right? The government spends on that because it makes money. But it doesn't spend on mental health because mental health doesn't make money. It doesn't contribute to GDP, right?
But
what it wants is contribute to GDP. That's the whole, the whole government policy is just aimed at squeezing every last drop of value from Singaporeans. And that's the, why we're in this situation where parents don't have time for their kids, where kids are constantly, forced lots of tuition and CCAs and, maximize your time, and where everything, the rents are going up, the cost of living going up. That's because it's this whole life has become one huge transaction, and the only people who benefit are capitalists, including our government. And it feels...
No, they go for some visits in Finland, to Norway, and they don't squeeze people out. But they're economically good. And they're for number one. Finland is the top in happiness. Economically, they're top. So if they can do it, why not Singapore? So is that something that we need to look into the leadership?
Finland, when I first went there, one of the things that impressed me most was that they built in time for leisure into the conference program, right? That it wasn't like a conference, we brought people all over the world, got to pack everything in. No, there was time for unstructured time, and there was also sacred time for going to the sauna. We all went to the sauna, went along. There was a sauna, there was the sea, and then we would run into the sea naked and then run into the sauna and sit there and sweat and then run, and I was like, this is a fantastic life, this just the mentality, right? That you must have sauna time,
Yeah. So I strongly believe that we built this country for a good, and we all are very good, by the G1, G2 leaders who can do it so fantastically well. What's happening now? We cannot live in past glories. Today's speech, not today, I think our Prime Minister Lawrence Wong spoke. In the 50s and 60s, we were all thinking whether Singapore can make it. There was a doubt, but we made it. But now he's saying that, can Singapore make it? Singapore make it for what? For PAP to be there, or for the mental well-being, or people to be all the jobs are raised, cost of living going down, people have happiness there. Is he talking about we can make it what? He didn't say it. Can we make it now? What is he trying to say?
It's this whole fear, that they've every election the PAP campaigns on fear, and it's exhausting. Let's campaign on hope. Let's campaign on a happier Singapore instead of the politics of fear, which is really exhausting.
But what I don't understand, one thing about our people in Singapore is, you have given them so many mandates year after, every 5 years, once every 5 years, everything. But you to give one mandate to the opposition, why are they thinking so hard? We're not here to topple anyone. You have to give an opportunity to see whether this particular candidate can do the job. 5 years is good enough to prove ourselves whether we can or cannot. Otherwise, you just remove me. You have a choice to remove. You have the power of voting. You have all the rights and power. But you keep voting for the same people over and over again, and then come, we're tired, and then you say we want some more. But another 5 years has passed, right? So even if you look at the MPs who are coming in, if you notice all the new MPs come in, right? For example, you take Nisun. Now we got slate of new 4 of them. Have you noticed the 4 of them who left, if I'm not mistaken, 2 of them is only 1 term.
Yeah,
2 of them. And the other is, of course, Mr. Faisal is he has just shifted somewhere. But the other one is only 2 terms.
Lewis was 2 terms.
2 terms.
Kerry was 1. Yeah.
So anyway, even in Jurong Central, our current MP, he's been 1 term already, right? Most he might maybe say another 1 term. Why don't you give that term to me? Because you will never know. There's no guarantee he's going to stay another term, right? So why don't you give that term to me, so that at least you have an opportunity? That's why I'm asking. Nothing else we're asking. But if you don't put me in that situation, you will never know whether I will able to do. I just give you a simple analogy. Yeah, one of the I won't call relatives, somebody from India actually passed away in Singapore. He was working, he passed away, and we have to process his body to be sent to India. And then the family all crying over there, of course, they're crying. And then what happened is that the casket company told me, sorry, we can't send the body today. But the police, the mortuary is already released at 12 p.m. You only take about 4 hours processing, and that night the body can go to India. Okay. So I called the casket company and said, the family are very distraughted. Can you please send the body by today? Because they really couldn't take what has happened to, of course, a family member. They want to get over it, no? So can we send by today? If you don't send today, it will be next day, night again. They will need to wait 2 days of pain over there, right? Yeah. That guy says, sorry, we can't do it. I said, this is something very unusual because something's happened before and we have done it. Then he said, okay, he challenged me. Can you go and find a funeral services who can send it today? Then I asked him, if I find one, would you able to release from you to let the other funeral service to take over? Sure, I'll let you do it. So I went on to call quite a number of funeral services. And this funeral services operating for 10 years. I called the one which only started last year, 1 year old. Yeah. And I called a few. All the experienced ones say, oh, not possible. Right, the one that was only 1 year old, they said, we can do it, ma'am. All you need is 4 hours. Right. We can get it done. So you say, very sure, 100% sure? I'm 150% sure we can do it. Please give it to us. You can. I called back the funeral parlour again, the first one. I said, I found one. Can you please release the body? They're going to do it. He straight away went blank and said, oh, no, I got a contract with a company. The company will not allow. You just now promised me that you would release it if I can find one. I already found one, so can you release it? So then he said, no, you're going to talk to a company. So I called the company. I said, the family wants the body by tonight. That means early in the morning reaches. So can you please process it and get it done? He said, no, we have an agreement with a funeral service company. And I said, anyway, its insurance is covering. So why are you worried? So why don't you just process and send the body as soon as possible? Can you imagine if anything happens in your family and your family members are going through, how will you feel it? Then when I pushed for it, then the company said, okay, I will push this funeral service to do it today. If they don't do it today, then I'll let you know what's happening. I say, you must come back. So what happened? They give the ultimatum to the funeral service to say, you have to push it today, otherwise I have to release that. Right. It went.
I understand what you're trying to say. So these established incumbents, they have no incentive to, take risks or try anything new or meet the needs of people because they're comfortable, they're established, right?
They're not comfortable.
They've got vested interest.
Vested interest, vested interest.
You take someone new, someone willing to take risks, then change can happen, then good things can happen.
Actually, there's no risk. There's no risk involved. Yeah. There's no risk involved. What risk can happen, tell me?
Yeah, that's true.
There's no risk.
Yeah.
You're not going to lose your job. Everything is going to be, of course, there'll be your constituency will be clean. In fact, cleaner than the other constituency. Right?
Sengkang, Aljunied.
All have proven everything is fine. Everything. In fact, some of the wards which is not the opposition wards are even worse. We have seen it. So where I'm coming from is, what risk? Can you tell me what's the risk?
Yeah.
There's no risk. By one SMC sitting down there for one sit, what risk are you going to lose?
So
you got more to gain than more to lose. You must study the risk factor, right?
Yeah.
That's true. And Kala is doing this and Kala is saying this. Hey, give Kala a chance. I won't say chance, give an opportunity to her. Let her prove herself. And that's where the confidence comes. So where I'm telling my Singaporeans is, make the step forward. Step forward with faith, not with fear. Both also start with F. You have a choice whether with fear or faith. Go with faith. Once you put with faith, everything will fall in place. I'm a strong believer in that. And that's what I'm asking all Singaporeans to say that. I'm not saying that all opposition party must come in. You must look and evaluate the candidates both in PAP and both in opposition. Not only in opposition, both in PAP, because we got so many new slate of candidates. They came in. Are they really going to be with you? Are they going to speak? Because they put a very important person in front and the rest are behind. Are they going to speak for you? Many MPs are not speaking for you. Only the first row is very busy. The rest of rows are not busy in the parliament.
Yeah, that's true.
So what more? They are saying it every time.
Yeah.
So where I'm coming from is, can we please take the courage, and this is your rights, and you have the right to vote, right? And you have the power don't let anybody manipulate your power or influence your thought process. That's where I'm coming from.
Okay, on that note, we're out of time. Now, I don't live in Jurong Central, so I can't vote for you, but I can give you my blessing.
Yes, I need a blessing.
Bless you, Kala Manickam.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to all of you, our audience, for tuning in. Do tune in to TOC's channels for more interviews and more coverage of the Singapore General Election 2025. I'm PJ Thum. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.